Freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here.
Size different than because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terence Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch.
Floyd Mayweather reportedly stormed the stage during the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis press conference, confronting Jake with a direct warning. The event quickly turned tense as both camps exchanged fiery words, creating a chaotic scene. The outburst made it clear just how personal and intense the rivalry has become in the build-up to their highly anticipated showdown.
Just showing up. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna knock him out. You know, he has a lot of flaws in his defense, and I'm gonna expose him. You know, look what a 135 Lamont Roach did to him, and it's just gonna be so much fun for me. I'm so glad that God gave me this moment. I'm Gervonta Tank Davis.
Many critics have been quick to dismiss the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup as unnecessary, labeling it more spectacle than sport. Yet, not everyone shares that sentiment. Ariel Helwani offered a different perspective, pointing out that MMA fans often embrace experimental matchups and celebrate them for their entertainment value. However, when similar crossover events happen in boxing, the same audiences tend to criticize them as meaningless. Helwani argued that this exposes a clear double standard between the two combat sports. While the fight may not embody pure boxing tradition, he believes it still delivers strong entertainment value and broad fan interest.
Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150. How much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pizzi? In MMA, like, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks, there's no doubt about that. But I will say...
You agree, right, or no?
Yeah, like, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here. I think where people get annoyed with Jake is, like, you know, he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. You know, like, this is, every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs, and this is ridiculous. As long as, like, you know, why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'll be like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson. He's a world champion. And then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like, he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is, this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
But do you not think he does agree to that? Do you not think he knows what this is?
No, I do.
Floyd Mayweather spoke about the upcoming Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis fight, saying that while the Paul brothers are doing things most people don't understand and should be allowed to do their own thing, Jake's skills have yet to be truly tested. According to Mayweather, Jake has never faced a fighter with real experience or elite boxing ability, someone who truly represents what it means to be a real boxer inside the ring.
Right? When Turkey was doing all that, like, I don't want no boring Tom and Jerry fights, he came out with a Tom and Jerry hat. And then he fought in a style that is not sustainable for him. And it's not, again, for me, it's not sustainable because fighting like that, if you do that with the wrong one, you'll lose. If you fight how you fight, okay, it's going to be harder to win. But you're putting your own self on the chopping block, trying to appease the crowd or not be Tom and Jerry. It's not sustainable. And even in the Zepeda fight, he got rocked back with a jab and fell into the ropes like that. So you could say I wasn't hurt and all that, but it's still a bad look. It's a bad look. People always talk about Tank, the knee, hair grease thing, but What about Shakur getting rocked into the ropes from a Zapata jab? Even if you were off balance, you're supposed to be light years ahead of Zapata skillfully. So to me, that still looks really bad. Like, I watched 50 fights from Floyd Mayweather, and he's fighting way better than Zapata level. And Canelo and these guys, they're not punching him into the ropes and he's staggering back. The optics of it look bad. So back to it, Shakur, I feel like he's trying so hard to look unbothered, but he always replies to it so you could tell he's bothered. He's like, man, I got him so mad at me. And I personally, I don't prefer that when people do that. Like, for example, Shakur's like, man, I got him tuned in and thanks for the support. Bro, they're not really supporting you. They're all the comments underneath you saying whatever you said about I get to pick Jake Paul's brain and work with him and all that. Most of them were negative. So you're trying like it's so weird because it reminds me of when I've seen people like celebrities or whatever who they have a
Other boxers, including Devin Haney and Terence Crawford, have also weighed in on the matchup. They believe that no matter how talented Gervonta Davis is, taking on someone like Jake Paul carries unnecessary risk due to the significant size difference. Jake's height and weight advantages could make the fight physically demanding, even with Davis's clear technical superiority. Both Haney and Crawford argued that bouts like this blur the line between genuine competition and entertainment. Their remarks echo the concerns of many traditional boxing fans who feel the sport should remain rooted in competition and legacy, not turn into a business stunt or spectacle.
Just a business move or a show.
Size different than because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terence Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch. We've seen Shakur Stevenson's words say this is a clown show, that it's a disgrace to boxing, that it's something that he doesn't want to be a part of, but then do everything he can to be a part of it by turning from 2 division, 3 division world champion, former unified champion, and turning himself from that into a damn sparring partner for Jake Paul. So people's words, people's actions are showing that they really, really deep down like this fight. And now you can add Devin the Dream Haney to the list of fighters. And I just find it funny because here's the thing. I disagree with him. I am only interested in this fight because number one, I'm a diehard Gervonta Tank Davis fan, and number two, I don't really like Jake Paul at all. So I would like to see Tank Davis knock his block off. But as far as a competitive standpoint, as far as thinking it's a good fight, as far as loving the fight, nah, bro, I think it's a trash ass fight. I think Tank Davis is way too good, way too skilled, way too talented to even allow Jake Paul to share the ring with him. That is my opinion. And so as a result, my pick of the fight or my overview and analysis of the fight is the same. If it's a real fight, if this is something that Tank Davis is taking serious, Jake Paul is going to get in that bitch and be a...
Former world champion Keith Thurman offered a more balanced perspective on the situation. He pointed out that many of the same fans criticizing Gervonta Davis are also the ones who never miss his fights. According to Thurman, people love to complain, yet they stay tuned in because Tank always brings excitement. He added that this kind of controversy actually works in Davis's favor, keeping him in the spotlight and highlighting his impact on the sport. Thurman believes that no matter how much criticism surrounds the matchup, fans will still watch to see what unfolds. To him, that proves how powerful Davis's brand has become. Even his critics contribute to the success of his fights.
With Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, because that's all for entertainment. What's it? for entertainment purposes only, right? Let's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. Fine. Disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only. You know, so it's money making purposes only.
Throughout his career, Gervonta Davis has emphasized his respect for true boxing and his commitment to building a legacy through meaningful, competitive fights. He's taken on tough opponents and earned victories that solidified his place as one of the top fighters in the lightweight division. That's why many fans are puzzled by his decision to face Jake Paul, a figure better known for his online fame than his technical boxing skills. To them, this matchup doesn't align with Davis's established reputation or long-term goals. Still, Davis appears unfazed by outside criticism. He remains focused on his own path, suggesting that this fight may serve a personal or financial purpose rather than one tied to legacy or validation.
Not the problem with boxing. Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star turned boxer. Of course, he's going to make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound-for-pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make mockery of the sport, especially with this fight. I know Tank Davis multiple times has said he only cares about the money and just wants to make $100 million and go retire off an island somewhere. But that's bad for the sport, especially coming from one of our sport's biggest superstars. Look at guys like Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Terence Crawford. Those guys are real fighters, okay? They challenge themselves against the best fighters in the world. And money comes their way too from it. Don't get it twisted. What's crazy is Tank would make just as much money if he fought Shakur, Devin Haney, even Teofimo Lopez. The biggest tragedy of all is the fact that Lamont Roach isn't getting his rematch. He got robbed in that fight with a knockdown. He definitely would have won the split decision, and he would have got his Buster Douglas moment. But he didn't, and now he can't even get a rematch because Tank is going to do this. And now Lamont Roach has to fight Pitbull Cruz instead. I used to be such a big Tank Davis fan. Over the last year and a half that I've had this channel, the amount of BS that I've had to report on Tank Davis just like this completely turned me off as a fan of Tank Davis. Jake Paul can do his thing with the influencers, with the MMA fighters, but with boxers...
Many boxing analysts argue that the Gervonta Davis vs. Jake Paul fight doesn't align with traditional boxing standards. It sits somewhere between a legitimate sporting contest and a spectacle designed to capture mainstream attention. In recent years, these hybrid events, mixing entertainment with competition, have become increasingly common. While some fans enjoy the showmanship and buzz they generate, others believe such matchups risk undermining the sport's integrity. What makes this particular fight especially unusual is that both Davis and Jake are still active competitors. Typically, exhibition-style bouts feature retired athletes or celebrities, not two fighters still pursuing serious careers.
Fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight? And those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple of years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything